Well, a greener energy mix is something Singapore is striving towards by taking multiple steps, like a pilot to import electricity from Malaysia.
In his opening remarks at the Singapore International Energy Week, Trade and Industry Minister Chan Chun Sing said Singapore hopes to tap green energy from around the region through regional power grids. The groundwork for this will be laid through an electricity import pilot with Malaysia over 2 years.
Well, Singapore will also ramp up its drive to tap more sunshine here with a goal of achieving 1.5 gigawatt peak of solar deployment by 2025. This is an acceleration of the solar deployment plan that Mr. Chan announced at last year's conference, which was to have an installed solar capacity of 2 GWP by 2030.
And over the longer term, Singapore could also potentially tap emerging low-carbon technologies like using hydrogen as a fuel or deploying carbon capture utilization and storage to suck, so to speak, planet-warming carbon dioxide out of the air.
Well, joining us now to talk about these initiatives is Science and Environment correspondent Audrey Tan. Hello, Audrey. So, several steps announced today to push Singapore towards greener energy sources, including importing electricity from the region and ramping up efforts to harvest solar energy here. But I want to find out from you, how significant is each initiative in contributing to our overall efforts to have a greener energy mix?
So yeah, hi guys. As you can see, I'm still here at the conference venue, which is why I have my mask on. But yeah, a number of initiatives were announced today to help Singapore green its energy mix. So a bit of background before we get into the meat of today's announcement. Singapore currently is powered mainly by natural gas. It is a fossil fuel, but it's still a fossil fuel nonetheless. So Singapore has announced today various initiatives to try to green its energy mix. And it includes increasing the amount of solar panels we deploy here in Singapore. But even then, that is still limited. So the plan now is to meet 2% of our energy needs in 2025 with solar power. So 2% is still not as high as we would like, which is why Singapore is also trialling importing electricity from Malaysia. The Energy Market Authority has said that they would prefer a renewable energy source in Malaysia. And the reason for why this pilot is significant is because it would, set the groundwork for Singapore to import more green energy sources from our neighboring countries. So Singapore, we may lack access to certain forms of renewable energy, but our neighbors don't. So setting the groundwork will pave the way for Singapore to import more of these green energy sources in the future. And lastly, another announcement that was made today is a new research initiative, almost 50 million will be pumped into development of clean energy technologies in the future. So that includes using hydrogen as a fuel, and also carbon capture, utilization and storage technologies. So such solutions basically aim to capture carbon dioxide from the atmosphere so that it can be captured and stored or converted into other useful substances. So if you look at it holistically, all these are parts of a puzzle that would help Singapore paint a greener future in terms of our energy use.
Right. Audrey, do these greener energy alternatives eventually translate to lower electricity prices for Singaporeans?
So I guess one of the greener energy solutions that we would be able to see soon would be the import of electricity from Malaysia. So that the EMA is anticipating that by the end of next year, 2021, we could be importing electricity from them. However, the amount of electricity that we hope to import is 100 megawatts, so that just makes up about 1.5% of our peak energy demand today. So the EMA is saying that because the amount is not too much, it is unlikely to affect energy prices here in Singapore yet. But we'll have to see how, in the long term this will pan out. And that is one of the reasons why we are looking at this pilot in the first place, to see not just about the technical capabilities, but also in terms of the market prices and other consumer sensitive kind of points.
Yeah, of course. Well, Singapore International Energy Week is until Friday. So, Audrey, what else can we expect from the conference? Any other big announcements?
So we are probably expecting to see more MOUs being signed. I mean, that is the point of such big energy conferences, bringing minds from all over the world to meet. Already some MOUs were announced today, including tie-ups between Singapore and Australia. But I guess the more information will be revealed as the conference progresses.
Right. Well, thank you so much for coming on to the show, Audrey. It's a pleasure to always speak with you. We've been speaking to our Science and Environment correspondent, Audrey Tan.
Well, the Singapore International Energy Week is also the first convention here where participants must undergo pre-event COVID-19 swabbing using antigen rapid tests.
Journalist Timothy Goh went through the entire process.
Hi, I'm here 30 minutes early at the Marina Bay Sands Expo and Convention Centre to register and take my test. Now, I'll get my results in about 15 minutes via SMS, and if I test negative, then I'll be able to head inside. So let's go. So I just took the antigen rapid test. It's a lot faster, less painful, less uncomfortable than the previous PCR test I've taken. In this case, the swab only goes slightly up your nose. You really don't feel it as much as in the other tests, and I honestly think that this is something that might be very useful in the future if we were to expand it to other events.
If it has to be done, it has to be done. So it's not painful or anything like that. Like I said, it's just a little bit ticklish, so it's not too bad.
The ushers, they were very helpful in the instructions and everything else, so I'm pretty satisfied.
I was actually quite afraid of the swab, but he's quite nice, and then he explained to me, and then it's smooth, not too uncomfortable. It felt like a sneeze.
In addition to the tests, attendees were to remain masked and abide by the safe distancing measures. This included staying 1 meter apart from each other and sitting at tables of up to only 5 people. Pre-event tests are part of the Ministry of Health's pilot to enable the reopening of more activities, including large-scale events. If successful, they may pave the way for looser restrictions on group sizes for gatherings, which are currently capped at 5. Timothy Goh for the Straits Times.